Hey, now in this video I want to talk about Ask and Embla, who are in the Poetic Edda, in the poem Voluspa, credited as being the first humans, man and woman. Now obviously the witch, the seer, recounts how Odin, Hoenir and Lodurr find Ask and Embla. And the suggestion is that they give spirit, sense and blood to trees to make humans. Which, in a, I suppose, retelling or a skaldic verse, sort of giving origin to the species of man, has a poetic, I don't know, beauty to it. It's one line of thinking, and obviously you have to take that into consideration if you are a Sartre, Norse pagan heathen, and where you sort of take that as a line of thinking between metaphor or fact or misunderstanding. Now, I stepped to one side and sort of saying I'm going to add a little photo in there because there's a very interesting debate that was held by Ocean Keltoy with Wolf the Red and a friend, my apologies, I don't have a name, discussing primates and statements that have been said by another popular contending YouTuber, the Wisdom of Odin. And having watched that episode of the Omnipotent Beard, it's quite interesting listening to the lady speak about primates and really sort of the science of evolution and our connections to primates, which for me personally, taking that into consideration and trying to use my gift of reason, if you like, is how do you get from the Poetic Edda and sort of bind it together with what science has established with where we are today. Because also in understanding when the writing of the Poetic Edda was recorded, listening to various scholars and that, the generally agreed term is that space was a premium and often words were shortened to cram everything in. And Voluspa in particular, now this is just a personal theory within a personal theory, is that if you look at some of the later sections of the Poetic Edda, it offers you the people who are speaking. Odin says, or Frigg says, Loki says. And Voluspa in particular doesn't do that, which is interesting in itself. I mean, it then sort of lends the idea that it's the seer, the witch, who is saying the whole Voluspa, or perhaps they just hadn't started doing that. And obviously, unlike with our modern technology and the benefits of programs like Word and that, you can't sort of suddenly go back and edit it in and have it all auto adjust and that. It's committed to parchment with ink. So my feelings are, getting back on point, is with words as a premium, it's very much that perhaps what we've got with a lot of the recording of the Poetic Edda is it's basically been done in shorthand to have the facts, but keep it as acute and as compact as possible, because what we have is people recording the tales without the flair or the style that, say, a Skald or anyone would be telling the story would give it. So for me, I'm looking at it that, what if Odin, Hoenir and Lodurr came to Midgard and was wandering along the beach, discovering what they'd created, and they see sort of the primates in the trees. So it's like, this is where the tree aspect comes into the story, that they see these primates that are perhaps similar to the form that the Aesir have had at the time, and then decide to create humans from them. And this is where the gifts come in, that Odin gives them spirit, Hoenir gives them sense, and Lodurr gives them blood. And again, you have to sort of, you look at these as they're hard words, but then sort of like, well, what is the spirit? And it's that sort of Odin really, you're sort of making apex primates from a collection in the trees, a male and a female, so that Odin is giving them the ability to be independent and to do more than what at that time nature dictates of a primate. And then obviously Hoenir gives them the reason, so there's the learning and understanding that they've maybe been educated or gifted from these three individuals, these three Aesir, and to then sort of reason that they are now different and can then move forward with their gifts. They have independent thought and reasoning, and finally with the blood is the ability to reproduce. And it's like, not just Ask and Embla can reproduce sort of just those two, but they have the ability to reproduce with other primates, and therein you have sort of the origin of humanity, which obviously we still have that, unless I'm wrong and can be corrected, there's still this theory of a missing link or something that happened that science still cannot explain. And it's that sort of, why not in Voluspa this is told that certain primates were given this gift, these gifts, Ask and Embla, and the then sort of continuation once the three brothers leave them to it, is then sort of the evolution and change into mankind, sort of from Neanderthal to modern day. It's a line of thinking. I mean, it's one of those things that sort of, it's something, when you listen to different opinions and different facts plus sort of writings of your faith and that, you want to try and make sense of it in a way that's plausible, though not necessarily true. I mean, let's say there's opinions that obviously the Poetic Edda is all about metaphors, and it's not sort of these things happened. That's for individuals to decide upon or not. I mean, that's something we all have to sort of come to terms with in one way or another. But for me, it's just that sort of trying to make some sense of what we know from a biological point of view, plus what the faith tells us, and also to sort of bring this in line to how the Poetic Edda is set out as well. As said, it's a line of thinking. You can agree, you can disagree. That's your choice. It's just a thought process. By all means, watch the attached video. It is quite long, but it does give some insights into various things, as well as, I don't know, educational purposes. Anyway, that's my video regarding Ask and Embla, and if you've watched this, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.